Hello, friends, and welcome again to another single-serving tabletop adventure of from Queen's Court Games. I'm Aaron. I'll be your storyteller, and tonight we're heading back to the 1920s. For The Dream Factory, a horror scenario by John Scott Tynes, originally written for Call of Cthulhu in the scenario book Mortal Coils. If you want to check the scenario or system out for yourself, you can always find it by popping !scenario in chat or checking back in the show notes if you're catching up on YouTube or one of our podcasts. Also, because this is a horror scenario, be sure to head on down, put !safety, and see if there are any topics coming up that you might find uncomfortable or objectionable. Our cast has been through the list. We've done our safety checks. We've done our session zeros. They have their safety tools, but we want to make sure all of you in the audience stay mentally good, having a good time as well. Our lovely cast is waiting. And I think we've done this enough. We've done this spiel enough that I could actually let one of you fill in for this next part, right? Because I'm going to say, I'm downright giddy at the prospect of introducing them, but first a small note, and then V could say,
if you find yourself heading on down to that subscribe button here on Twitch, pause for just a moment and reconsider going instead to our Patreon. Same amount, $5 a month, gets you a whole bunch of extra content, and you don't have to split any, or well, rather, we don't have to split any of the money that you would give us with, well, a guy that kind of just looks like if a worm had legs. So head on down to patreon.com/queenscourtgames if you feel so inclined.
Excellent. Round of applause for V. I'm actually quite impressed. Yeah.
Thank you.
See, you were nervous
for that.
I know, and you were nervous, but like that was only like 6 words away from the actual scripting that I have written down. So very well done.
Thank you.
With that out of the way, allow me the great privilege of introducing our astounding, amazing, incredible cast. As the heat-packing, verbal-slapping scientist, Callum Broadbent from Play Nerd Allies, we are joined by Cyle.
Hello!
As our has-it-together alienist, Johanna von Stüber from Heroes and Hooligans, it's Hooli.
Guten Tag. I think that's the word.
Danke for online. No, there's no N in there. Well, there is, but it's at the end, not in the middle.
and it would be Frau because she's married, but that's fine. It's fine.
Oh, does Fraulein mean sing?
Yeah.
Fraulein is
Fraulein means like miss.
I've been revealed as a fraud.
You have been, and I need to leave immediately.
Well, now taking on the additional role as Callum, but also his original character, Marcus Develo, veteran soldier, it's Josh.
Hello.
And with the photo roster, it's Minnie Foster. V. How you doing?
Oh, I like that. That was great. Thanks, Aaron. I'm doing well.
Little one.
Yeah.
Little one as a treat.
As a treat. I like it.
This is normally the part of the game where I say, let me tell you a story. But as is tradition on Queen's Court Games, once we get into the second and the third episode, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the first one, you got to go get back on that. There are things you need to know. So, like, just pause this, head on over to YouTube, grab a podcast, grab a snack. We'll see you in 3 hours. Totally fine. Don't worry about it. But I would like to give one of you the distinct privilege of telling us what we've learned so far in the last session. Do I have any volunteers?
I have a pretty detailed set of notes if you should so choose for me to do so.
I see that Cyle was ready to volunteer, but now that you are on, he's saying, by all means, go ahead. So
whichever direction you are in on the screen currently.
First things first, a young lady is missing, and her family is wondering where and why. Second thing, Marcus and Minnie did not want to invite Callum. That is, I think, the most important detail of the entire crime. Callum was not originally supposed to be invited. So what had happened was we went around gathering some information after Miss Virginia Morgan, the cousin of Laura Angel, the missing starlet, had come to our office. And she gave us a little bit of like, she's from Missouri, you know, Laura never showed up for the premiere, and that she didn't pick her up from the train station, all of those things. And then so we went to the apartment, and unfortunately so the apartment really turned up no information. Callum and Marcus went to the restaurant that Marcus had driven into before and learned a little bit about Alexander, the very interesting director. He is a very, very strange character. He likes his set closed. They film in the middle of the night. He's just slightly tilted, maybe a little more than slightly, but from our current understanding. Her agent as well is slightly concerned and does not believe the police's she ran off with a boyfriend theory. So we're going to touch on that and try to figure out a little bit more. That's a majority of it without going over the top with detail.
I would also like to say that all the viewers can see on the overlay the insult counter that we currently have to track Callum's insults. I have a running tally. You don't get to know if you haven't been keeping track.
Oh.
The viewers will know. But I guess you just have to play it a little safe, don't you, Callum?
No. I feel like that's asking a fish not to drink.
I also think there should be a poll in the chat as to how much of the percentage of those insults aim towards Marcus for driving into the restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, thus far it's been 100%. But from here we can actually take this moment right now. We will put up a prediction poll for chat. We will see how chat feels the percentage of these insults will go. So we'll give the mods a chance to do that, and we'll see how right we are at the end. That'll be fun.
I think first place is predetermined, and there's no gambling there. The more interesting question is who of Minnie and Johanna gets the second most.
Oh, fair.
Because we know that Marcus is
It's
going to
gonna be
come in
Marcus.
first by a wide margin, but who is the one who's gonna sneak into second place?
Well,
Well,
that poll should be popping up
we'll find
anytime
out.
now. So we'll find out.
And speaking of sneaking into places, you had a couple thoughts as you wrapped up your get back together at the detective agency as to where you wanted to take the investigation from here. We'd heard suggestions about through either subterfuge or stealth, making your way onto the studio lot and seeing what you could find there. There was also the suggestion of making it into Alexander Zaharev's home. He maintains a home in Los Angeles, but he's currently on the East Coast, so in theory, no one's home, and you should be able to just rifle through his personal possessions, maybe find out some more information. It was agreed that you didn't want to do those things in pairs, that everyone wanted to be there. So I will put it to you. Which of those things sounds more interesting, more important, more urgent?
I think so. As we left off in the office, right? My vote's definitely going to be for the movies because I want to talk to anybody that might have been at that party. I want to find out what was said to who at that party. So I want to talk to the people that worked that party.
My thought process on it is if we go to the movie studio now while we still have daylight, it's less sus to go to an operating place of business during their operating hours. And also while we are attempting to sneak into a private residence, is also easier under the cover of night. So should there unfall after?
This is why I'm partnered with her, because I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have done it the other way around.
She's very obviously the brains of the operation. And I mean, I don't know the hours that Ward Frederick, head of security, keeps, but to follow up on Joanna's point, it's likely that he'd still be there this time of day. So
we might also bump into some of the extras that might have worked on the film. They might be working on other sets that are going on. We might be able to query some of them as well.
Makes perfect sense to me, and you all seem to be in agreement. So we'll hop into one of the vehicles that you have access to. If you decide to let Marcus drive again, that's up to you. What's the worst that could happen
Just like to say that my driving is 10. I am good at driving now. It's just one slip up. That cat shouldn't have been in the road.
One slip up, tens of thousands of dollars of damage, several people in the hospital.
Just ride in the back seat, Callum. You won't have to see the crash coming, and the front seat is mine anyways. And I'll move my
why would you even say that?
Well-organized things.
Why would you hurt my feelings like that? I don't
sit
know.
In the back seat. I'm jumping in the passenger seat where I normally sit. You can very clearly see the ashtray is tilted in the direction of Johanna's seat. There's a spot on the floor where she's got this little bin where she keeps her items, so that way they're not like mixed up in any of Marcus's belongings that he so untidily keeps laying around, and has the glove box organized because that's her only space in the car is the passenger seat. So you can push
Marcus, what am I looking at in this back seat here? Why is there, I feel like an archaeologist trying to dig through several hundred years of history. What are these layers?
I mean, you can go through them if you want to. There's quite a few different variations of sandwich wrappers in there. There might be some that might actually have some sandwiches still in them. I meant to get the car cleaned out, but I keep forgetting.
You know what? I hope you get cleaned out. Dear God, this is reprehensible.
I 100% believe that Mark is the kind of person who has forgotten half of a prawn sandwich in the back of his car, and it's been there for like a week.
Do I need to make a sanity check for this?
Yeah, there's definitely an odd smell in the back of the car. Definitely. The where Johanna sits is just completely different because it's just like proper tidy, but everywhere else is a mess.
You hear this scraping sound as Callum just drags like one of the trash bins on the street, the metal trash bins, over to the car, and just looks at him and says, "It's all going in here, or I am literally burning this car."
That's fine. I mean, it saves me $5 to have it cleaned.
I'm just literally gonna like anything and everything in the back seat just immediately goes into the trash bin.
Before the Don't Litter campaigns, I think in the 1930s, it was totally acceptable to just hurl all that out the window and let someone else deal with it. Well, on your way to the Mintz Brothers studios, I can give you a couple pieces of information about the place. It was founded, as you might have guessed, by the Mintz Brothers. One named Saul, the other, his name escapes me. They made a small investment.
Escapes me is a weird name.
I think it's Swedish.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
They made a tidy profit off of an investment in a risky but eventually super popular film, and then have just exploded onto the scene. They make about 15 features and 25 shorter films every year. They are most known for the careers of their up-and-coming starlet, Laura Angel, but their big-time star right now is a woman named Clara Negri. She's a sultry German woman who is the raunchy sex symbol foil to Laura's wholesome Midwest persona. They really only operate in two genres, romantic melodramas, and on the other hand, slapstick comedy shorts. They are not the biggest studio in Hollywood by any means, but they are doing pretty good. It's a closed studio, as is the case now in real life, but especially back then. There are walls around the whole place, and to get inside, you'll have to stop at a gate, give your business, sign in, and so on. So that is where,
Before we get there, I'm just gonna look at Marcus, who's driving. It's like, look, just say you're my driver. I'm coming to check the film. Okay, that's all we gotta say. I'll get us in.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm gonna open the glove box, Johanna's glove box, and inside there's a really nice looking hat and a tie. And I pull the hat out and put it on, and I just button my shirt up a little bit and put the tie on, and just sort of move it around a bit.
Yeah, they didn't have headphones back then.
You don't look like a total asshole anymore.
They didn't have what back then?
Clip-on ties. Yeah. They
Oh
didn't
no, it's a
have
proper
those.
tie. Yeah, it takes me a little while to put it on. I'm doing this while I'm driving, so Johanna might have to reach over and sort of help.
Yeah, I'll very nonchalantly reach over and grab the steering wheel. Like this is something that happens rather often, hence the reason there's a tie in the glove box.
Mhm.
So I'll move my cigarette from my left hand to my right, flick my ash out the window, and just hold the steering wheel like it's just normal every day.
Well,
Wait.
giving Marcus. Oh, sorry, giving Marcus plenty of time to put his tie on before we arrive. So let's begin the scene there. There is a very fresh-faced, like 19 or 20, Leave It to Beaver white kid. Given this time era, it is definitely someone's son or nephew or neighbor. It's a job that has been handed out through patronage. The uniform looks entirely too serious on him. His hat is the wrong size, so it like kind of sits really low on his forehead, looking like it looks like a costume. But despite that, he takes his job very, very seriously. When the car approaches, there's a large gate that's folded down in front of a beam gate that's folded down in front of it, and he comes out with his clipboard and his best voice on. Hey, you're gonna have to sign in here.
Oh yes. Yes. Let me take that, and I'll take the board. And there you go, sir. Yes, sign that, please. Yes.
Well, what's the name of your business? What's your purpose of your visit?
You sound much like a puppet.
I'll lean over to Callum and just, it looks a little green around the gills, wouldn't you say? Just a little.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Excuse me, sir. That's not very
name's
funny. I
Callum
take my job
Broadbent.
very seriously, and this badge says you have to respect my authority in these matters. So if you could just state your business.
Yes, we are here to inspect the set.
You know those things that you all make here, like the films that you make? I'm the one that gives you the film that you make them on. I need to check it out, make sure that it's properly stored, all that kind of stuff, so you don't lose 17 cans, because somebody forgot to turn on the fan. Okay?
Yeah, that's. Do you have an appointment? Is there somebody here who you're? It's gotten more. I started out as just Weasley, and then you said Kermit, and now I'm just going full
Now
Kermit.
Now
it's
you're
full
full
on.
Kermit, yeah.
Hello, Kermit the guard here. Do you have? I can't take it seriously. I'm so sorry.
No, you can't.
Do you have an appointment with anyone here on the set?
I've got a standing appointment. I come usually about once a month just to make sure that everything's good.
So yeah, I'm more than willing to let you browbeat this young, obviously unqualified man. But what would the social spend be? If you want to use an investigative ability, now would be the right time.
You know what I'll do? I will use chemistry, and I will describe to him exactly what goes on with the film and why it has to be stored exactly the way that it needs to be stored, or else it'll be destroyed. And this is the worst time of the year and the worst time of the day for it because of the fluctuations in temperature and the fluctuations in humidity. So I got to make sure that you're not going to lose 6 months worth of film.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally believe that. This is not a young man who, if he knows any 3-syllable words, I'm giving him like 5 tops. So it's very easy to just start doing the gish gallop and all the big words are just in his ears, and all he can think of is how expensive that sounds and how it'd be his fault. So you scribble down your name, and he just makes sure looking, driver, technician, 2 guests.
I am going to, when I scribble my name down, do it so illegibly that no one will be able to determine what it says.
I accept that for the signature. He will, if you don't have a name that he can look at, he will ask. You can give him a fake name, it doesn't matter, but they're not going to. The one thing he knows about this job is he just cannot let Scribbles McGee.
No, then I'll give him my name.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the phone many a times.
Well, thank you, Mr. Broadbent. Sorry for the delays. I hope everything goes well with your films. And he walks back into the thing, and the gate comes up.
during that entire transaction of Callum explaining the procedure of making a film, which I've heard quite a few times, I am yawning and trying not to doze off at the seat at the front seat. At the wheel of the car.
So, you have kind of not the run of the place. I mean, obviously, Callum, having made deliveries, you know kind of the rules. You can't just barge onto sets. That's going to get you into trouble. But so long as you have the confidence of I look like I should be where I am, you can get away with traveling most of the place.
There's a couple of things that I think we need to. I'm sort of like whispering to us as we're sort of slowly driving through the lot. I want to head over to the actual commissary. I want to see if anybody was there that night, serve drinks or pass naps or whatever they're doing over there, and see if they overheard anything. What do you think? What else do we need to do while we're here?
Well, I wonder if Laura has a on-set trailer of her own here. Is that something they had at Mims Brothers?
They might during production, but the film has already been shot, so that set would have been turned over to a new show by now. You could go. I don't know if they have like they wouldn't have like apartments here, obviously, or else you wouldn't need one out there.
Right.
But you could swing by casting or by production, see if you can kind of come around that way. But to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Laura has like a place here.
No trailer or anything.
No.
Yeah, I just didn't know if she had like a standing trailer where she keeps her acting things, because Minnie and I did not come across any of that in her home. It was all strictly country girl attire or up and coming fashions for the area now. So my curiosity is, she has no movie props at home. She has no costumes at home, nothing of the sort. She had a pretty decent film, come up. A lot of times actors are given props from those films, especially if it's like the gun that killed them in an overly dramatic, like murder mystery film. So I was thinking maybe there was a place here that she had like a standing trailer or dressing room or something that she was using regardless of what set, because she was so active here. And also I have questions about Clara, because she is a woman, I am a woman, I understand jealousy. German women, we can be overly jealous at times, and there's this like new up and coming starlet who's just like this very wholesome girl, and she's just this over the top sex figure who could be seeing some sort of competition, and maybe she has feelings or information.
I think Clara is filming at the time, so you might be able to catch her somewhere. If nothing else, you can always ask around. Miles Desmond, the director of the previous film who you'd mentioned before, also working on the studio. So there are a lot of people you could drop in on or make an appointment with, depending on how much forewarning you wanted to give them. Callum, the commissary, totally. Yep, that's the whole thing. Lord Frederick. So
I'm just gonna look at everybody and be like, look, if you haven't been on set before, unless you're actually a bigwig, you're not gonna have an entourage. You're not gonna show up with a whole bunch of people. It's gonna be like a delivery or a check-in or a PA sending word to somebody about something. They gotta go someplace, things like that. Like so you can show up with like one or two, but if we show up all four of us, it's gonna get real suspicious real fast.
well, let's do it one-on-one then, right? So we have Clara Negri, we have Ward Frederick, we have the folks at the commissary, and we have Miles Desmond, right? Those are four people who you want to talk to. We have four investigators. Do you just want to divvy it up as such and go about your business?
Sure.
That works for me.
All right. I know where Callum wants to head. Do the three of you just want to grab someone off that list? Or Johanna has made something very specific about Clara.
Mm-hmm.
So Minnie, Marcus, that leaves Miles Desmond, and that leaves Ward Frederick, the chief of security. Any preferences?
I mean, I've been interested in Ward Frederick, so I'll take him.
I'll go Miles Desmond.
There we go. I will consult the Satan die to see where we go. Number 4, we're starting with Callum.
Oh dear.
The commissary at this point in studio history is almost always like just right across a plaza from the casting department. There'll be script writing offices over here, and then some accounting stuff over there, forming a little quadrangle. Very, very busy. There's some great shots historically of like major movie stars from different movies, all in costume, kind of hanging out together. So it was very much a communal place. And the number of actual flunkies and the actual number of flunkies and functionaries is such that you can very easily just blend in and go around. Is there someone in particular you're looking for?
So I'm looking for Amelia, because Amelia used to work over at Vinny's, and then she got this super cushy job over here, you know, just opening bottles of wine for real rich people. So, you know, like I definitely want to go chat with her and see what the real deal is. I don't want to talk to some hoity-toity, you know, like trying to book a new catering event on the lot or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. I don't know that if she's the kind of person working here and opening bottles at night, I would have guessed at this point that she's working a register or something like that. But you could wait until there's the mandatory 1930s smoke break, where she kind of hops out back, or you can just, you know, like hey, from behind a thing, and she'll find time. My impulse.
I'm gonna go up to like you can see there's sort of a straight shot from this big picture window that you can sort of see the line of the kitchen and the cash register and all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna go head over there and sort of sit in one of the shadows, and I'm gonna pull out a cigarette and just sort of rap on the glass twice and see if I can't just, you know, catch Amelia's attention.
She's, you know, busy during the day, and she looks and is like, oh, who the fuck it's a... Oh. You know, being the young female server here does not attract always the best male attention, so she's quite refreshed to see your face instead of someone like who's, hey honey, you want to be a starlet?
How you doing? Yeah.
So what was I was going to make an off-brand Weinstein joke, but no, we'll just say the normal one, that Harvey Weinstein in the 30s.
Yeah, so there you go.
So she's relieved to take that break and come out and chat with you. It's like, oh, Callum, I didn't know you were delivering anything. I didn't know the studio had anything going on. How's it been?
Amelia, how are you doing? And I'll go in for like a big hug.
It's difficult to hug all the way around. There are two impressive reasons that she was picked to get this job.
Yeah.
So you're stretching the fullness of your reach, but
I'm gonna like, you know, pop the bottom of my pack of cigarettes and have one jump up and offer it to her. Just, yo, you look amazing. You look so good. You always did, though. You always know how to take care of yourself.
Oh, don't I know it? I can't go 5 minutes here without some, what's a nice 1930s word for a shitty kind of guy?
Oh,
anyway.
Just a brute?
Yeah. I can't go more than 5 minutes with some brute jack complimenting me on this, that, and the other. They have been trying to get me onto that couch for, it's disgusting. Anyway, you didn't come here for that.
What did I tell you? You need to go get, you know, Nikki from the kitchen has got that old school chastity belt thing that has all those sharp edges, so when they try to pinch your bottom, they're gonna get more than they're looking for. You know,
Callum, in this skirt, and like she kind of like gestures at the uniform.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that they're being just a bunch of friggin' just bastards.
Oh, Callum, all men are bastards. Some are just more bastards than others.
Don't I know it? Good God. Ugh. Look, I got a thing I gotta ask you.
Yeah, I mean, come on, shoot. I got, and she looks down the cigarette, about 3 more minutes.
Okay. Were you working the night that of the rap party?
Oh, for the Zahara flick? Yeah, I was there.
Okay. You know I love gossip. You know I gotta know what's going on. Like, what really happened? I'm not really interested in most, but this one, I'm real curious.
I mean, there's the whole thing about her missing, but I'll tell you straight up, I don't know anything about that. I mean, I was popping bottles, not walking. Actually, that sounds very different in the modern context. I was just pouring drinks, not hearing anything about that. Everyone looked real happy.
Oh no, I don't need to hear about that. I got friends that are looking into that. What I want to know is who was talking crap about who and about what.
Oh, well, you don't have to go to the premiere for that. There's one thing everyone knows here, and that is, Queen Bitch from Bavaria. Oh, she is not a fan of Miss Angel.
Did she get hammered that night?
Oh, she didn't even show up. It was a big snub. She's working on the other thing, and she was just like, I'm not going to be in the same room with her. I hear her and Miles had a huge, big blow up over the whole thing. Like, Miles, you got so-and-so into that role instead of me. But, that's just ordinary studio stuff. I mean, aside from that, I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, Callum, they were having a real good time. You know me. Am I the kind of girl who cries at movies?
You know.
Yeah, Callum, I fucking bawled. That movie's beautiful.
Really? I keep hearing this. And that's that's amazing because it's not, come on, that's not even the kind of movie this studio normally makes.
No, but that's what people are always like, oh, yeah, that Alex Zakharov, he's the greatest guy. But this one. Oh, so
what was it? What was it that made it so amazing?
I'm a waitress, not a technician. I can't tell you the fancy film wars, but the performances. It felt like she was coming off the screen at me, just filling me up with all the I couldn't. God, I haven't cried like that since last time I saw my ma.
Oh wow. Well, okay. Well, what other gossip was there? I heard that there was all kinds of stuff going down over there. Just people getting a little drunk, a little nutty.
No more drunk and nutty than usual. It's always a little drunk because it's a studio, and it's always a little nutty when Zaharov's around.
Was Zahara there?
Oh yeah. No, he's super proud of this. They had to do this whole history of film thing with him, and he did that whole this is the journey I've been on as an artist, see where I've come from, see where I am now.
Oh god, yeah.
No, it's good that he's made the journey though, because that first film he showed off was fucking creepy.
What do you mean? What's this first film?
Oh, just like bugs and weird devil shit. There's no such thing as a student film back then. But yeah, no, it was disgusting. I think he was just trying to push boundaries as a younger artist, but it didn't come across well on screen.
Is he, where is that film? Is that down in the vault with the rest of them, or is it someplace else?
Well, no, everything's down in the vault, Callum, you know that.
Well, damn, I might need to go take a stroll over there and see what that's all about, because that does sound creepy. I love a good scary movie.
Well, I don't know if it's a good scary movie, but I'll let you be the judge.
But you didn't hear nothing else. Nobody's hooking up with nobody. Nobody's divorcing nobody. There's.
Oh God, no, plenty of people wish that they could take Miss Laura Angel and make her Miss Laura Devil, if you know what I mean. But that girl, she's a good girl.
She is pure as freshly driven snow. Take a minute, nobody's that clean in this town, but good God, it seems like she was.
Hand to God, honest, I would introduce her to my grandma. Just an absolute saint of a woman.
Well, damn, when was the last time you saw her? Was it at the party?
Yeah, no, I've been here a couple, in the days since. She hasn't come by, but you know how it is. When they're not on set, they're not around. I couldn't tell you what she's been up to.
But you work the late night shift sometimes, right?
Yeah, now and then. I got my deadbeat husband, if he doesn't pick up, you know how it is.
Oh well, you let me know if he keeps being a damn deadbeat, because we can have a conversation. I can give you a little something something, and you won't even have to have the conversation with him.
No, he means well. It's just, after the war, how people can get.
All right. Better treat you right. Above table, what night was the late cab ride from the apartment for Laura?
With the timeline
Was it
not
like the
in
night
front of me.
after the rap party?
Yes, I believe that the party was on like a Thursday, the cab ride was on a Friday. You guys are hired on a Monday kind of situation.
Per my notes, allow me to interject. Saturday, the 25th at 9 p.m. is when the cab came.
Okay.
She was not seen since the 24th.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna check and see. So you weren't working that Saturday night after the rap party, were you?
I mean, unfortunately, yeah.
Did you see her? Did you see her come up on set? Because I heard that Zahara had her come out.
I didn't see personally. There were a couple cabs that night, people coming in and out. I don't know. No, I don't know if it was her, but I mean, also a couple cabs kind of every night. You know this place.
Yeah, and the security guard, he would have that. He would know who came and went that night, right?
Oh yeah, everyone's got to sign in.
Huh. Okay. All right, that's good. That's good to know. And Amelia, you listen to me. You make sure that husband of yours takes care of you. You don't let him get depressed now. All right,
Oh,
you get him back to work.
You're a sweetie. I gotta go back to slinging hash.
All right, you listen. If he needs something, I probably can hook something up over at the university, and maybe Vinny over at the restaurant can set something up for him.
She's straightening in her uniform, takes one last down to the filter and stamps it out, and she's like, "I'll let him know. I gotta get back to work."
Right,
and makes
sweetie,
a very
have
sweet
fun.
thing about it. So that is the information that you have received. Not, that some of it helpful, some of it more like pointing you in helpful directions. We can see who else makes what kind of progress. Is there anyone?
And I'm gonna head to end this, just sort of gonna head off towards the film vault.
Mm-hmm. Minnie, Marcus, Johanna, any takers? All right. Josh, Marcus, it falls to you. It is not hard to find a security office with the head security office at Mintz Brothers Studio. There is one building that is the fanciest looking. That is where all the big wigs go, all that kind of thing. So it's more a sense of following the signs. And hey, you've got a tie on, so you'll be able to get in plenty of places. Are you just going? Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say I'm going to see Miles, aren't I? He's the director of the new film that Laura's been cast in. Is that right?
No, he was the director of the last film Laura worked on. Laura had a smaller part in a film before Unbroken. Miles was the director for that.
Ah, yes.
You heard Morris say he's kind of a creep, and I wanted to keep him away from a long-term thing with her. That is Miles.
Yeah, I've just got my notes mixed around. I've got it down that her next role after the one with the Russian director was with that, but that's fine. Yeah, either way, I'm going to go see him or try and find him where he is.
Yeah, you walk into the center part of the campus where there's the large building, of course, but there are also smaller bungalows that if you're a big enough director, you get one to yourself. If you're not a big enough director, you can have one when a project's going on. And they'll have a little a slate you can pull in and out of the sign that tells you who is in residence at the moment. Approaching Miles Desmond, there's a car outside. His bungalow as opposed to him. Only one. If you're expecting a receptionist or anything like that, you're going to be disappointed. There is sound of activity coming from the indoors, but there's no guard, there's no receptionist. It's more like a small ranch home, but just plopped down in the middle of this studio.
I'll walk up to the door and I'll just give it a quick tap, tap, tap.
And there's a music blaring from it. When you hear the music kind of like turn down, not enough to make an appreciable difference, but enough for you to hear him roaring out, "What the fuck do you want?"
Miles Desmond, is it?
Yeah, who the fuck are you?
My name is Marcus. I was wondering if I could talk to you for a little bit, please, if that's all right. If I'm not interrupting.
I'm a little busy right now. And at this point, you hear like the sound of like thumping against the wall, and it becomes apparent when like the door cracks open and there's the chain on it, and you can see that he was stumbling over to the doorway because Miles is annihilated, like just saggy, deep red under his eyes. Like he's in a bathrobe, it's hanging open. He's wearing 1930s, everyone's tidy whities, right? He's got that very obviously unshaven, reeks of booze, maybe like 92% booze, 4% vomit, 3% musk of despair. I don't know anyone named Marcus.
Well, my name's Marcus. It's a pleasure to meet you. You now know me. So you know somebody called Marcus. Can I come in?
It depends on what you want. Did you bring food? Are you the food guy?
I do actually happen to have, and I'm going to pull out a sandwich. I do actually happen to have a sandwich if you'd like it.
Yeah, I ordered it. I wonder where they were come from. All right, yeah. So he opens up the latch. The door swings wide open, has you come inside. The bungalow, it's not set up like a house. It's set up like a small office. So instead of a living room with a table and chairs, there's some desks that are together, a couple couches, typewriters, and things like that. And then the bedroom, where you conceive of the bedroom being, would be like his office. And of course, there's like a bathroom, but there's no kitchen. So it's a bungalow-sized private office. As you walk in, he's kind of very unsteady on his feet. He walks over to the couch. He rips a blanket off. There's a woman there. And he's like, "You, wow, it's time for my lunch meeting." And he hauls her up to her feet. She's barely dressed. The bottom, but that doesn't stop him from pushing her out the door. And she's like freaking out. Like, "What is it? I'll have the blanket." And then just slams the door. All right. Yeah, lunch. Yeah, lunch. Marcus, the lunch man. What can I do for you, lunch man, Marcus?
Just to check that the woman that was pushed out of the room didn't match the description of Laura. Just to check.
No.
Okay.
Found
her under some coats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's it. The adventure's over. Congratulations.
Hey, credits roll. I will hand the sandwich over to him, and I will look around to see if there's a seat that I can sit at. I'll probably find one with some rubbish on it, and I'll sort of scoot it off, and I'll just sit down and see what he does.
First thing, he's gonna tuck right the fuck into that sandwich. Does not if it was a pocket sandwich you've had for a while, he does not seem to notice or care. That might be the alcohol. He's not like frat boy slurring drunk. This is more like the medium level multi-day binge drunk. So he's got a little bit of that sleep deprivation, like hair of the dog drunk. And as he's talking to you, it's not that he's like mistaken you for a ride or anything like that. He's just very much in like, I don't give a shit. I want a sandwich. I'm fucking Miles Desmond. What are they gonna do to me? So if you're just gonna sit here, like it's amusing or entertaining or not a big enough issue enough for him that he's just willing to let you hang out.
So, may I ask, how are things going with you at the moment? How is got any projects or anything you're working on at the moment?
How are things go? Look the fuck around. Do you see a script? you see like any of the clickety clacking of a real creative types making movies? No, fuck no, it's not going. It's not going well at all.
Oh, that's not good. Any particular reason as to why you're not? You're Miles Desmond. You're well known.
Yeah, Miles fucking Desmond. And that's exactly what I told those studio people. But they're like, oh no, it's all just, no, we don't need another Miles movie right now. You got to bring us a script, Miles. Show us what you can work, Miles. But I keep saying, oh, the inspiration it needs money, and it needs booze, and it needs tits. It needs women with big tits to get the inspiration moving. And fucking Hollywood, fucking Mintz brothers, fucking pricks. Takes a bite of his sandwich.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I hear on good authority that it was one of your more recent movies that launched a career of what was her name? Laura Angel, was it?
Oh my God, Laura, great kid, terrific actress, gonna be the next big thing. I mean, like, I was ready for her to work with me, and it was gonna be beautiful, but I mean, Alex is gonna make her a capital S, capital T, capital A, capital R, star, capital star. Alex is gonna make her a star.
Well, that's good. I mean, what can you tell me about this new movie that she was working on? I've heard some strange things about this Alex person. Do you know him personally?
Strange things. And this is like the first time you've seen his eyes, like they start to like light up. There's like a lucidity that appears in him as he starts. He's like, Alex is a genius, the best director to ever be called a director. Unbroken is going to be the hit of not the year, not the decade, the millennium. Because, and I tell you this, Marcus, I tell you this, Lunchman Marcus, look me in the eyes, Lunchman Marcus, because Unbroken, no, right here, in the eyes, Marcus. Unbroken is the best movie that will ever be made. Best movie.
I mean, just being this close to you, I can almost smell how serious you are about it, and how you move away. Yes. Well, that's good. But as I said, do you know Alex personally? Have you had a conversation with him at all? I hear that he keeps a closed set, which is a sort of an odd thing.
Oh, I mean, no, Alex and I don't want to say we go way back because he's kind of new to the country, but no, yeah, he's great. We've hung out a couple times. I mean, I think we should like really collaborate, because maybe I can get some of that genius to rub off on me. If I could be half as good as he is, I'd die a happy man. And then he talks about, they've got a pretty good professional relationship. They socialize outside of work because they're both directors. Not clear if there's more there or if he's just like bullshitting. But Miles is happy to tell you that he and Alex are great friends.
That's good. I'll tell you what, something to wash that sandwich down, and I'm going to go into a pocket on the other side, and I'm going to pull out a nice little flask, and I'm going to slide that across the table to him. Try some of that. It's some of the good stuff. What about Clara? She's the biggest star in the Mint Studios. Have you ever had a chance to work with her? What's she like?
A question for me: is this the flask that Johanna gave you earlier with the Callum blend in it?
Maybe.
Because I think I remember Johanna got some of Callum's special sauce in a flask to bring up to you. I see some nodding. Okay, yeah. So it's not like something he would just have, from whatever. This is something he hasn't had before. Okay.
Yep.
You mentioned Clara's name, and for a moment, you're not sure. You think he might actually throw up, but it's not like he doesn't end up actually vomiting. It's just the exaggerated reaction of like, oh, Clora Negri. I mean, she's okay. She's pretty, she's got an accent, but she's overrated. They can make her a star because she's willing to, do some of the things that Laura won't in terms of her reputation, in terms of what she'll put on screen, But no, Laura's the genius. Clara, Alex can make anyone look good. She'll be in the next film. It'll be all right.
Did you happen to go to the Unbroken sort of wrap-up party thing?
Oh yeah, I'm Miles fucking Desmond. Of course they invited me.
What was Laura at the party? How was she at the party? Was she good? Having conversations with people and all that sort of stuff. Did she leave early?
I mean, Laura's always been a little shy. And that's the thing that makes Laura so special, right? It's because she comes on it so earnestly. Like if you put Negri on screen and you say, hey, I need you to act like, a little innocent, she can't do it because she's all, But Laura, I mean, you can just see that wholesomeness, that kind of cornbread thing you can only get from a kind of girl who comes from the kind of place she's from. I mean, all that's real. So, I mean, she goes to the parties and she has a good time, but she's never been the press the flesh, mingle, climbing type. I mean, I guess, and he pauses, leans forward, and takes another drink from the flask. He's like, I guess this is some fucking. Where did you get this?
It's a special blend that I got from a friend.
Oh, is your friend okay if I keep this?
I'd like the flask back, but you can certainly pour the rest of it into your own flask or into a jug or something, or a glass. It's fine.
I was like, got a jug around here? And he asks, like, legitimately unaware if he does or not, and gets up, searching for something to pour this into. He continued to talk. Anyway, yeah, I mean, she was a little more shy than usual. Honestly, I think it's just the pressure getting to her because, like, the people in that room, they were into it. I mean, Marcus, Lunchman Marcus, the man who brought me lunch, you have to go see that film. It'll change you.
I fully intend to, and as he brings like a glass or a jug or anything over, I'll sort of take the flask off of him and pour what looks like all of it in, but I won't pour all of it quite. I'll sort of at the last minute do that and then put the lid back on and to sort of hide it away and push the glass towards him. So, have you heard that Laura's missing?
Yeah, it's tragic. Cops came around here. They were asking me a lot. They were asking me a lot of the same questions you were, Lunchman Marcus.
I am a
Lunchman
yes.
Marcus. Are you perhaps law enforcement, Lunchman Marcus?
Oh, no, definitely not.
You have to tell me if you're a cop.
Oh, no, I would tell you if I was a cop. I'm definitely not a cop. I wouldn't have come in. I wouldn't have come in here with sandwiches if I was a cop.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never seen a cop bring a sandwich. But hey, you can't trick Miles fucking Desmond. Are you working this?
I have to be 100% honest with you. I am an aspiring director, and you are somebody who I've looked up to. I've enjoyed a lot of your. Well, not a lot of. I've enjoyed all of the movies that you've made, and I just want to learn from the best. Is what I want to do. I want to get into what makes Miles Desmond, and the relationships that you have with the people that you employ. So with Laura and how that goes, and I just want to learn from you.
I will accept that angle. The joke here is, oh, you're my fan? Name all my films. But we won't go down that route. I will take an investigative ability spend. Reassurance. I have literally forgotten.
Flattery?
Except flattery is the one that I was looking for. I kept saying in my head, nice talk, but that is definitely not the name of the skill.
I am going to use interrogation. because the way that I'm wording it, because I am literally questioning him about these things, but I'm using the angle of, yes, I'm an aspiring director. I'm using that as an angle to try and get the answers out of him. I'm also using his drunkenness against him.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, no, he is drunk and susceptible, so that counts as leverage. We will go with that. We've covered already kind of like the big picture questions stuff. Are there any other pieces that you're thinking of picking up along the way?
Did you happen to see Laura leave the party that night?
I mean, wait, what night?
The night of the Unbroken wrap-up party.
Oh, the part. No, I had some last-minute auditions, if you know what I mean. So I left the party a little early with this cute thing from New Jersey. I mean, she thinks she's gonna be a star, but as long as she does, I'm happy to continue working with her on her talents.
Oh, was that the lady with the talents that we saw earlier?
Oh, no. It's a busy town, Marcus. You know, people coming in all the time. You have to keep your head on a swivel and always be ready to find like the one. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you for that. I'm going to pull out a notepad and I'm just going to start writing these things down.
Hey, sometimes if you're lucky, not just the one. Sometimes it's the two or the three.
Oh, you're such a man I aspire to be one day. Mind you, I'm probably older than he is. but yeah, I'll just write this down. Have you seen Laura since the party? I'm asking because, if I'm honest, I'd like to work with her at some point. Maybe get a bit of a conversation going with her as well. And hopefully, obviously, I need to get there first. I need to get into this lot, and I need to actually make my film. I have my script at home. It's all nearly finished and everything, but I just need that little bit of a, what was it you said earlier? A little bit of the spark that needs to make it work. That's what I need.
Spark, yeah. When you get big, you tell him Miles Desmond. He taught you how to find the spark.
I certainly will, yes. And it's in the big tits, is what you said, yes?
I mean, that does sound like something I would have said. I don't. You might want to paraphrase that part, just between us.
Okay, right. Yes. Okay, I'll scratch that bit out.
You know, modern women and their sensibilities, they don't. Like, what? The world's changing, Marcus. You can't be like, hey, you want to be a star and just whip it out. You can't be like, hey, that's a great set of tits to match your person. I mean, people. I'm just saying, it's better for you as the world evolves that we leave some of that behind. But I mean, the spark in the tits, the Miles Desmond story. I like that.
Oh yes, definitely. Right. So you say you didn't see her after you haven't seen her after the rap party and all that.
Man. Sorry, Marcus. Sorry, Lunchman Marcus.
No, you're fine. I'll tell you what I'll do for you, because you've been such a great help, and I feel that I've learned a lot from you. What I will do is, when I go to my sandwich place, I will get a special order brought to you. Does that sound good? And of course, when my script is ready, I'm going to bring that to you for you to read. Of course.
I tell you what, Marcus. I tell you what. You bring me exactly one lunch, and then with his other hand, he holds up the glass, and exactly one of these, and I will. Miles Desmond, the master director, will read your script. Does that sound? Do we have an accord?
We have an accord, and I'm gonna sort of go to shake his hand, sort of. No, yes, we have an accord. I will leave you to your business. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good evening. I hope your next project goes well, and I will speak to you soon. Okay?
Sounds good, man. Lunchman, not a cop, Marcus. Did I ask you? Because I asked you. Yeah, I would have asked you. Never mind, Marcus. Yeah, I'm sure you're busy.
Well, what did you ask me? Ask me again. Go.
I know you're not a cop, right?
Oh no, definitely not. No,
because you got to tell me if you're a cop.
Yes, no, that's part of the whole thing that they have to tell you. I mean, I'm British for a start, so I'm definitely not a cop. So
that's a good point. Because then wait. You're not a Bobby, right? Because you got to tell me if you're a Bobby.
I'm definitely not a plod, no.
All right, well,
I have no I would have no jurisdiction here, even if I was. So you're fine, all right? As I said, it's aspiring director. Look up to you. You're amazing. Big tits are awesome, but we need to leave them in the past. I thank you, okay? Enjoy the rest of your day.
By all means, yes, sir, Police Constable Lunchman Marcus. And he goes back to the class.
And I turn around and walk out, and as I do, I look down at my notepad, and it just says, along the page, it just says dickhead, and then I fold it over and put it back in my pocket.
Yeah. Well, sort of. Exiting the bungalow and heading back to your vehicle, you'll notice there's a passenger. She's very confused.
What, in my car or in his car?
In your car. I'm wondering if there's something you dropped everybody off as you were the one continuing to drive, and when the woman was ejected from the room, so in the passenger seat of your vehicle is a woman with just like a real thin blanket, just like in the passenger seat, looking at you like. You're
not Johanna. Can I help you, miss?
Can you just take me to the costuming department?
I certainly can. I'm sorry, but I can't have you in the car like that, please. And I'm going to take my jacket off and I'm going to give that to her. I have some trousers or some pants, should I say, in the boot. 1 second, I'm going to walk round to the boot and I have a spare set of clothing in there and I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to give that. Just get dressed for the moment. I shall drive you round to the costume department. You have to give me directions. I've not actually been here before. What was your name? Sorry.
Sarah.
Sarah. And what do you do here? Are you? I'm going to say this while we're driving. Are you one of the? Are you an actress? One of the extras?
Oh no! I mean that's why I was meeting with my just super mousy, like the kind of person who through a certain conservative upbringing has no sense of how like attractive she is to like bad men. So like in that repressed way, I just showed up in LA. She'll tell you that no, she's actually a seamstress. She works in the costuming department. But Miles said if he met, they could do like a little audition thing and.
Okay. No. I'm sorry for barging in on you. I apologise. By any chance, do you know Laura Angel? Have you done any costumes for her or anything? There's a constant distraction as she is nervously fidgeting in men's clothes, trying to figure out, making sure that everything is appropriately covered. I make sure I avert my eyes so that I don't see any ankles or wrists or anything.
I understand exactly now how you crashed into that restaurant. But yeah, I mean, everyone knows Laura. Everyone knows Laura. And she's just like everyone tells you the exact same thing, and Sarah's no different. That Laura was the sweetest, nicest human being to ever grace the film industry, and was just like other actresses. They come in, and if this doesn't fit, they freak out, or like, how could you make this cut? It makes me look fat, blah 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 blah, and they're just like screaming, throwing things, and Laura was never like that. Do you happen to live in the same sort of place? I believe it's Palm Court, I believe is where she lives. Is that, do you happen to live there? Oh, no, I don't make anywhere near enough money sewing dresses to live in a place like that.
Oh, okay. And have you ever had like a personal one-on-one conversation with Laura, or even or anybody else about, ever heard anybody say anything ill about Laura?
I'll tell you this, Josh. It's above the table. I invented this character to have a moment where you had to deal with a naked woman in the car, but she doesn't actually know anything. So I mean, the interrogation is fine. I just wanted to see your face as you found the naked stranger in your vehicle.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. The drive itself is going to be very much a case of he goes to look at her, notice she's fiddling with her clothes, looks away and like sort of steers into the wrong lane, and then has to quickly adjust himself because he's used to Johanna being there and instantly doing it for him. So he's got to catch himself and say, and he'll get to the costume department as quickly as he can. I'll get out the car, walk around to the other side, open the door, and I'll sort of help her get into the costume department without anybody seeing. I'll be very gentlemanly about it.
She is extremely grateful, and in exchange for your service, you are rewarded with a chaste kiss on the cheek, as is appropriate for a proper gentleman.
I'll see her in, and then I'll get back in the car and I'll drive back to the entranceway area, or I'll drive back to, I'll go to the general parking lot, because I think that's where we all would have said to each other that that's where we'll meet up, in the general parking lot, and then I'll wait there.
Very well. And hey, you've got another sandwich in a different. You have 2 pockets, 2 sandwiches if you need a way to pass the time.
Oh, definitely.
Well, Johanna, the other 2 had it fairly easy, approaching people they either knew or were too drunk to care that they did not know the person. I don't know that you've brought a pocket sandwich, or if it would be helpful when dealing with Miss Negri, but one thing is for sure, she is not going to be as approachable. Like, you just can't come up and knock on her trailer door or whatever. You're going to have a plan to catch her somewhere and then kind of be able to pin her down. You could, I would accept a disguise, a ruse, a ploy, any kind of scheme. What do you think would be a fun and interesting way to secure not an interview, but an audience with Hollywood superstar Clara Negri?
So my thought process here is we have something in common. Her and I hail from the same heritage. I know that when I'm sitting in the office with Marcus in between cases, there are things that I would rather be eating and doing that are more reminiscent to home than American food. So my thought is Johanna keeps some German candies in her bag, some fine German chocolates, way better than the crap down American version. And she has that kind of thing in her bag. And also she has this little German doll that her grandmother made for her mother and was like passed down. And she's had that for like a very long time. And it's like something that a lot of girls from, that part of the country, is like kind of heritage thing. So I think my thought process is that I would like to approach her as a foreign liaison, using my language ability to do so, speaking to her solely in German, as a foreign actress liaison who is interested in interviewing her for an article in a big international magazine, because back home everybody is just so proud of her for being, important and starring on the silver screen and things like that. So just want to use that sort of mimicry to get to where I want to be.
Makes sense to me. Pretending to be a foreign journalist, you have the language skills, as you said, and as you will soon see, Negri is willing to do all kinds of things for attention, so that makes it relatively simple. You can make those arrangements through one of her flunkies, through the studio. You could present as such. They can get you a meeting. There is, of course, the initial you have to wait. So while Laura is in her trailer, obviously up to nothing, just flexing, you have to sit outside. It's shaded. You have one of those director-style chairs that you get to wait in, but she will make you go through the ritual of supplication of 20 minutes until she is ready for you. When the moment comes, she opens the door but does not greet you. It's more like a, you may enter. And inside, there is an icon. You've heard different people describe her with differing amounts of respect, but no one can deny that Clara Angel, that would be a weird, that Clara Negri is gorgeous. She has all the right features for the era. Her hair is in a pristine, beautifully angled, it's like some kind of bob haircut. I'm too straight actually to know. Flapper fashion up and down. The perfect amount of hip and shoulder and skin. She is aware that she is immaculate and carries it thus. No shit, real movie star. But even then, she manages to give up maybe 3% of that imperious, obnoxious fame odor as she speaks to you, opening immediately in German. I don't speak German, so we can just presume this conversation happens in German. Greeting you in the traditional Bavarian way, and kind of self-glowing a bit. Like, I didn't realize that my fame had made it all the way overseas, and that people in the homeland were watching me. That's so great.
Oh, yes, darling, you just have no idea. All the young girls simply just want to be you. Every young girl with the same haircut and the makeup style and big pictures on their walls, like, I want to be Clara Negri. And even such, and I'll take out my little doll, I'm willing to part with it to get the job done at this point. So I have brought you this doll from a young lady back home who knew that I was coming to interview you. And I must tell you, when I got the opportunity to come here and speak with you, I was so excited and overjoyed because you are even more gorgeous in person than I could have ever possibly imagined. And I'll pull out the chocolate and the doll and be like, some gifts from home.
It's normally the part when you're complimenting that an ordinary person would be like, oh no, stop. She doesn't. She will just let you continue as long and just bask in it the entire way. She receives the gifts, of course, with a critical eye, a bit ungrateful in the, it's trinkets kind of way, but obviously touched by the fact that it was thoughtful. She would prefer it if it was thoughtful and expensive, but thoughtful will do. From there, under the auspices of an interview, she's going to kind of let you lead the conversation. What topic do you start with?
I am going to start by asking you what moment it was that you absolutely knew Clara Negri was going to be a star.
As is appropriate, of course, I was born with this sense of something greater. I knew from the moment I could speak and from the moment I could walk that I was destined for something larger than a provincial life, than a quiet life as somebody's wife or a nice banker's husband, something like that. When I had the opportunity to audition with the Mintz brothers here, it was a match made in heaven immediately. They saw me for what I was, and I saw them for what they could give me. But no, yes, that's been a train that's been moving since the very earliest days of my life.
Yes, I always knew that. I knew when I came here that I was just meeting a natural born star. Oh God, you are just so gorgeous. Not like that other girl. What was her name? She just did that recent film. I thought they could have cast it way better. What was it? That young lady. Oh, some simple American name. Laura, I think.
Laura.
Not important.
Laura Angel. She rolls her eyes. There's no need to mince words. I am more than happy to talk about how her talents will be short-lived in this industry. Everybody knows that Clara Negri's name is the one that will be on all the marquees.
Well, they would be stupid if they didn't know.
Stupid, yes, and of course, my fans have already made that decision. And in fact, so have people here in the studio. You can go tell the friends back home, all of my fans back in Germany, that Alexander Zaharev has already promised me the role in his next film.
Oh, he has? That is absolutely fantastic. Alexander Zaharev, he is just an up-and-coming director himself, isn't he? Similar neck of the woods to us where he comes from, a little far off and not so glorious, but what do you think of him? Is he fab or is he drab? Tell me, I need to know.
Oh, he is a visionary, a genius. You'll hear rumors about how he makes things too hard, but that's the kind of complaining that the actresses in this industry who can't cut it talk about. If you're committed to your craft, you're willing to do what it takes to become a star, then Alex will take your performance to heights that it's unbelievable. You have to see it for yourself. I'm not going to recommend that anyone see Unbroken because I have no doubt that Laura's performance is going to drag it down to the point of being tripe. But, well, when I'm on the screen, you'll be able to see exactly what Alex can do.
You know, I really didn't want to see the film anyway, so I'm so thankful that you stopped me from doing so, because I was extremely concerned that she was just going to be too plain. She just doesn't possess that same sort of pizzazz, that, you know, that little je ne sais quoi that, you know, everybody has, that, you know, everybody like you, of course. What do you think about her missing? Like, that's a little interesting, isn't it?
Oh, God only knows where young God only knows where young, scared girls get off to. And that's the point that I was trying to make about Unbroken. The project was too big for her. There are more people on this studio than there are in her hometown, my friend. And you can't put a girl like that in a place like this and expect her to be able to handle it. She's adorable and naive, but unprofessional. It was only a matter of time before she got spooked and either ran away home or some boy found her. I don't concern myself with Laura Angel.
Unprofessional. Oh, the gall of the girl. How could you present yourself in a place where stars such as Clara Negri are blooming and at the top of their career, and just come and be unprofessional? You know, tell me a little bit more things and I'll just go on, you know, pretending to conduct the interview and make nice. And she doesn't seem too interested in communicating other than talking, and doesn't have anything really interesting. Oh, the party. I heard there was a big party recently, the launch party. Did you go?
No. For one, it's considered a little gauche to go to the premieres of movies that you aren't, to the screenings of movies that you aren't in. And for second, I'm afraid that if I watched Laura perform that long on screen, that I might catch something or inherit, maybe internalize one of her tics or imperfections, and it would affect my own craft. No, I wouldn't be caught dead in a room that Laura Angel was the center of.
Tics and imperfections. Oh, do tell. I must know this gossip.
She will continue to discuss that, using phrases like, as the production went on, that there were people who just talked about Laura being tired, about how she didn't have the stamina for the role, that it started out real strong, and then the performances were great, but as they reached the end of filming, it was kind of obvious that off screen, Laura was like losing a step. She, being Clara, using words like used up, run out of steam, that kind of thing. And she didn't want any of that. As if you could catch the off-gassing of someone's attitude. She just doesn't want to be anywhere around that kind of negative influence, whether real or imperceived.
Okay, and I just have one more question before I get out of your hair. How was your work with, what is his name, Miles, before Alexander? How was that?
No, Miles is a delight. He's no Alexander's a horror, that's for sure. But when he puts his own kind of special self into the film, it's really something different. It's not for everybody. Miles has a certain attitude and a certain provocative style that some people find distasteful, but it's a nice change of pace.
You know, that's very fair. Miss Negri, it was very nice meeting you. I am absolutely honored to have had a chance to talk with you. And yeah, above the table, can I check how honest she is? I do have assess honesty.
Yeah, if you want to spend the point of assess honesty.
Yeah. Do I need a roll or just spend a point?
Oh no, the beauty of the Trail of Cthulhu system is that if you want a clue, you just say, "Can I have it?" And then if you're willing to make the spend, you can.
Do the thing, Magic Man.
Yeah. So the bit about Laura is making no secret of being dismissive of, sorry, Claire's being totally dismissive of Laura, and that is genuine. That's 100% just like Clara is jealously dismissive of Laura. Calling her untalented is a bit, methinks, though protest too much. That she's trying to talk her down in public because she's a little worried that maybe the kid like will amount to something. But she's also doing like a public relations thing where the lie becomes believable if you add truth to it. So there is truth to the fact that Laura was losing steam over the course of the production. Clara is making a bigger deal out of it than maybe other people would. There is some truth to Laura being naive and getting a bit more closed off as the production went on, and Claire is calling a lot of attention to it and pathologizing it. So that's the thing. Yeah, it's being embellished because Clara is actually afraid of what Laura might be able to accomplish. But there are core truths in there that do contradict some other things you've heard. You'll recall people talked about how, the woman who was just in the car with Marcus saying Laura's always full of life. And now you're hearing that, well, as things came by, that wasn't the case, that something had changed along the course of the production, apparently. She wasn't quite who she was when you started when she started the filming. But on that note, we have made it about halfway through our recording so far. We have a ton to talk and think about, especially before we send Minnie off to talk with the security bigwig. So why don't we take our break here? We will all refill our drinks. We'll have some talking about kind of above the table what some plans are. And then when we come back, we can see what happens when Minnie Foster goes toe-to-toe with Frederick Ward, head of studio security.
Isn't it Ward Frederick?
We'll see what happens when Minnie Foster goes toe-to-toe with Ward Frederick, the head of studio security. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Queen's Court Games. I'm Aaron, your storyteller, and you and me, we're getting back to the Dream Factory, a Trail of Cthulhu. I can't do it. I lost it. We're back with the Dream Factory, a scenario for Trail of Cthulhu. 1920s, 1930s film style. When we left, Johanna had just investigated her way into an interview with Clara Negri, an imperious, impetuous, and jealous star. Marcus met with the esteemed director and well-known all-around town good gentleman, Miles Desmond. He also made a friend. Callum, investigating his way through his close contacts and friends, met an employee of the studio, who was able to confirm several details about the screening that preceded Laura's disappearance. A lot of information coming in, pointing people in different directions, but also bringing up more questions along the way. When we went on break, I promised that it would be Minnie's turn to go speak to her person now, and I must confess to you, the audience, that was a lie, and that I had a filthy storyteller trick up my sleeve the whole time. So, Johanna, will you do me a great, big, huge favor and roll luck? Just 1d100. We'll see if it comes up high or low.
Want a D100.
Or 2 10s and some math. I trust you either way.
All right. 70.
Is high good or is low good? suppose it's a little late. I should have asked that beforehand. 70 is fine, though. As you are departing, I don't know why this thought would have occurred to your head. Maybe it is the fact that you were hanging out with a very rich person. But did it strike you as strange that a woman from Nowheresville, Missouri, just had $500 after renting a hotel, after taking a train ride across the country?
You know, that's something that's kind of been sitting in the back of my notebook, questioning the cousin, because she had mentioned that the cops, she didn't want to get the cops or anybody involved, but at the point she came to us, they were very clearly already involved. So I have some suspect questions about her. So yeah, that kind of checks out.
What if I told you you could have the opportunity to do that right now? Because as you exit the trailer, putting your notebook back in your pocket, looking around, there is a woman walking out of one of the studio rooms, heading off towards the direction of the commissary. It's about a 10 or 15 minute walk from here. Walking in that direction, who bears a stunning, striking, uncanny, impeccable resemblance to the woman who's put you on retainer.
You know, that would be the luck of it. And I am going to make a beeline in that actual direction.
So one of two things we're gonna have to do. If you would like to not be seen, that would be a shadowing test. If you don't care and just want to charge after her, we're going to go into athletics, because I have a feeling the second she sees you, she's going to book it. So do you have shadowing?
I do.
Okay. The way that Trail of Cthulhu works is that all tasks are, you roll a d6. 3 is the standard difficulty. You can spend points out of your general ability pool to give you a bonus on your die. So if you were just, no, it's not that important, I don't really worry, you don't have to spend any points. If you said, oh my god, this is critical, you could spend a lot of points. In this case, there are enough people around where, yeah, I think the difficulty 3 makes sense to me.
Well, what I'm going to say is, this ain't my first rodeo, cowboy. I've seen some real shady things in my day. So I am going to go ahead and go shadowing. Mm-hmm. So when I do this, I have 4 points in that. Mm-hmm. I roll the dice regular, right? And then I can check off points to add dice to it.
You have to spend the points ahead of time.
Okay.
So, yeah, you have a pool of 4. You can spend 1, you could spend 2, you could spend all 4. They're your points. It's your choice. And
then it's like 1 dice per point, right?
No, you just add the numbers straight to the end. So if you spent 3 points and rolled a 1, your result would be a 4.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 points. Mm-hmm. Deeming it minorly critical that this individual is here. I got a 4 plus 2 is 6.
6 is good. So you can hop in, you can tail your way down. Getting a 6 is it's a success is already there, but at a 6, you are also able to kind of keep a pace and then decide the exact moment that you want to break cover and show yourself, which means you can follow her all the way past the next studio building to the left turn, where she meets face to face with a man who Callum and Marcus would recognize as Morris Harrison. They seem to know each other. They exchange a friendly hug, and I think that's the moment you're going to be like, excuse me, in German, ein Minuten bitte, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're in kind of like a darker spot? Like it's like out of visual range of everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, it's LA, so it's sunny. It's not going to be super dark, but it's definitely like a off the beaten path, an alleyway kind of between the 2 larger buildings.
Okay, and like, what is the surroundings around? Like when we round this corner and I see her meet face to face with this guy, what is around? Like, is there a path that if I make my presence clear that they are going to turn around and bolt? Or is there a way for me to kind of pin them into one position and be a complete and utter fucking asshole, because that's what I'm going to do.
You're on a pretty, so there, imagine like two aircraft hangars, one on the right, one on the left, and an alley between them. They're not that large. That's what we're dealing with. It's totally possible that if you are coming in, so you make a left turn off of like kind of the main thoroughfare between the studio, the recording sets, you make a left, they could continue running down away from you. But Morris, I feel like without too much trouble, you could take Morris in a foot race. So their ability to escape it's not limited spatially. It is limited by Morris being a kind of just schlubby 55-year-old man.
All right. So given that sort of scope of the area, I will make plan to be able to run with athletics if I need to chase somebody down, but I will round that corner and make myself appear, flicking my cigarette ever so dramatically, landing at kind of like the feet of them as I slide my jacket to the side where my very clear, large, and big bang kind of gun that I picked up from Callum today is. And Miss, what was it, Morgan? This is a really interesting place to be meeting you, small town Missouri girl.
Oh, there's panic abound. Virginia, obviously unprepared for this period. Just looking to Morris for direction, looking back at you, not saying anything. There's not even like an apology or babbling. It's very much like I've been caught with my hand in the cookie jar, and in a brazen kind of child kind of way, like you got me. Morris, so we'll say that Morris had his back to you, which is why she was the one who saw you first, kind of turning, seeing you. Never met you before, but he's putting things together, and it's more of like that guilty, just, okay. The conversation that follows immediately, Morris has his hands up, and he's saying, just don't, there's no need to, you can put that away. We're just, look, can we maybe speak about this a little quietly somewhere?
You've got about 2 minutes to make it quiet and make it fast before things get really actually fucking interesting.
I think you'll find all of this interesting. And if you're willing to, walk closer, you don't have to like get right up. It's not like a DM trap where I'm like, ho ho, now you're stabbed. But if you're willing to kind of like step a little closer, Morris introduces you properly to Sally Ellison, who is a bit player and extra for Mintz Brothers Studio, and also his niece. And what they will tell you is that Morris had her come to you with his money to start the investigation, because after Morris went to the police with the news of Flora's disappearance, the investigation was quashed by head of security Ward Frederick, who brushed the whole thing under the rug and came up with the story about the boyfriend theory. He says, I don't even know if it's true, but Ward has a long history of paying off city cops to let things slide, driving under the influence, maybe a weapons charge, that kind of thing. Ward's job is to protect the studio, which he does both in the physical sense and also in the scandal sense. So Morris is legitimately afraid that something happened to Laura, and that is how you all got roped in.
Yeah, Morris, this is all really great information, but I'm having trouble with you not being honest with me from the very beginning, because that doesn't really start off working relationships very well. Do you see where I'm coming from? Because this is very highly suspect of you.
A moralistic high approach to it. And he's like, okay, I'm suspicious. You want to investigate me for daring to care enough about a young missing woman to go outside the normal channels when I thought something was wrong?
No, I'm not investigating you. I'm just simply saying honesty is the best policy. Lead with that from now on.
You must be new in town if you still believe that. But that's beside the point. I'm not here to moralize. I'm here to help my friend.
Fair. What do you know that we don't so far, that your niece hasn't told us?
I am more than happy as a storyteller to give you that conversation. But on the topic of Ward Frederick, somebody has a meeting that they're going into alone. Minnie.
That's me.
How are you doing?
Well, above table, having heard all of that, not great.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, sure. But I mean, I have no reason to assume that anything is anything but fine. I mean, aside from all the things that aren't fine, but Ward Frederick generally, I have no reason to assume that anything's not fine.
Well, Chief Security, very busy job, very busy man. If you go straight up just saying, hey, I'm doing a thing, a report for high school about people in law enforcement who don't work for the state. Can I have an interview? They're going to tell you, yeah, come back in a week or two. If you lead with the investigation bit, that will probably cut through the red tape, but it's up to you.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm definitely leaning into the private eye angle. That's what I'm here for. I don't think I can really ask questions about it without it being obvious. So just lean into it.
I mean, we're going to get there. Might as well rip the Band-Aid off, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I think there's a part of Mr. Frederick that appreciates that when you go into the office, there's no need for pleasantries, that he's just going to walk in, sit behind his desk, and just kind of lean back. And the first things first, very professionally. You are a licensed investigator in the state of California, yes?
Yes, sir, I am. And I'll produce my license for him.
Very formal, kind of like when you're at the TSA and they care about their job, so like they're looking to see if it's been laminated correctly, that kind of thing. He's making sure it's not a forgery.
Sure.
There's not a picture on it in these days, but he will like hold it up and just like ask you, and when was your birthday?
March 2nd, 1892.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Miss Foss. You understand we can't be too careful. I understand you're here investigating the Laura Angel situation.
Yes. I was hired by one of her family members, actually, to look into all of this. Just they're a little worried. She missed a lunch date.
I understand, and I'm sure you know at this point the police are also looking into it. But I'll tell you exactly what I told them. Laura is obviously not the kind of girl that gets into trouble on her own. It is likely the case that she's just off somewhere with a guy she met, or that she is maybe just holed up somewhere. The fame got too much for her. It's not the kind of thing we really need to make a big deal of. If nothing else, for Laura's sake. We wouldn't want any kind of scandal getting out into the world, ruining her reputation. You understand that, right?
Yeah, no, of course. And that's actually why her family reached out, because they'd heard the same sort of thing from the cops, and they were just a little surprised because that feels a little off-brand for Laura. So they're a little concerned.
I see. I mean, well, unfortunately, I don't have a lot that I can give you related to this. But I'm here to cooperate. Let it never be said that we can't reach some kind of accord. If you are willing to share with me the people who you're talking to, and that way I can reach out on behalf of the studio and make sure everything's okay, let them know there's nothing to worry about, then I'm happy to show you any evidence we have that relates to our investigations, maybe clear the air for you as well.
I see what he's getting at, and I know the angle that he's playing.
Whatever do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, there were a few reasons that I left the force a couple years back. This attitude is kind of one of it. But
don't you worry your pretty face about it. Just the men are handling these things, sweetie.
I'm taking sanity damage right now. I'm not even rolling because it's automatic.
In fairness, it's only a little bit sexism and a lot just,
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. But can I use a point of cop talk to just kind of get out of having to give Virginia's name and maybe just get what I want instead?
Yeah, I would accept that. You left the force because of you got tired of this, but I mean, you knew how to deal with this before you
Well, yeah.
left, right? Otherwise,
Obviously, it is a skill. Quite
so
literally. It's on my sheet.
Spending a point of cop talk, you mentioned, you name drop a few things, a couple statutes. You demonstrate that you're not new to this, that he needs to play ball. It's not going to be the case where it feels like mutual respect, because Frederick obviously does not, but he's willing to at least recognize his game. It's probably easy. I mean, we could make a big deal about this. We don't have to, whatever. It's like, okay, no, that's acceptable. As a show of good faith, I'll see what I can do. What exactly is it you wanted to know from me?
My sources told me that she was picked up by the cab company late the night after the screening or after the party, and I was just hoping to take a look at the logbooks to just verify who came and went, just so if I can prove to the families that there's nothing weird going on and everything's on the up and up and it is exactly as you say it is.
Oh, yeah, no, sure, of course. And he turns around in his chair. There's a big filing cabinet behind him. He goes flipping through it, and he finds, pulling out the kind of, you recognize the form. It's the same sheet that Marcus had to pass through earlier. And he slides it out in front of you. It's the log of who signed in for the entire day. I guess, well, we skipped the part where you would have to say like what day it was, because I'm assuming you did tell him. Otherwise, it would be the kind of thing.
No, I said the day after the screening, she was picked up and brought, and I wanted to see that. Yeah, that's
fine. I did not want to end up in a situation where like he handed you the day of the screening, and you're like, but I never mentioned the screening, and then it got. So I'm just trying to avoid that.
Yeah, no.
So he hands you the correct log for the day. I will give you one just like for free. Obviously, you are a competent investigator. You saw the number of people who had signed in already on the sheet that Callum had to sign. There are way fewer on this one. And that's going to kind of start your brain going. You have an abundance of photography, so you're familiar with the chemical processes for that thing, but also like carbon copy stuff. This is not an original. This is something where like somebody went through and got 4 or 5 different people to scribble some shit on it. Like there aren't enough people. The times are like, and when like someone's making up random numbers, they're not at all random, and you can kind of see all that stuff fills together for you to say that no, this is not the correct form. But Ward is presenting to you just like hand to God, Boy Scouts honor. See, she wasn't here.
Great. That's fantastic news. I do wonder if I could get just one more small piece of information, if you have it.
I mean, of course. I mean, if I have it, I'll be happy to give it to you.
Wonderful. One of Laura's neighbors actually mentioned that she was picked up by a cab the same way that she normally is. Can I get the name of that cab company that you guys use to pick up the starlets?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, let's not use that kind of language. That sounds a little Miles Desmondy. But and he yells out to the front, hey, Suzifer, can you get a card? And she's gonna give you a card, and she'll have it for you on the way out. Yeah, contact them. I'm sure they'll be able to clear things up.
Perfect. That was the last missing piece that I had. Great. Actually, one final question. Do you know who called the police initially? I'm only asking because her family was very adamant about not getting the police involved. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out that they were already, in fact, involved.
Well, I tell you what, Miss Foster, if you find out the answer to that question, I also would love to know. We like to handle things in-house if we can to avoid families hiring investigators to come wandering around the lot. It wasn't me, that's for sure. Like I said, is it really necessary to get the police involved because some young skirt got a little flustered about her newest film? I don't think so.
Sorry, I'm making an internal sand check again. Great. No, you know what? Fantastic. I will be happy to share any information as I come across it. But everything looks as you say, which is great, and I'm sure the family will be very relieved to hear all of this information.
He stands up from his chair and then is happy to work with you, Miss Foster, and he extends his hand. That is the kind of handshake where he's proving a point, and there's not a lot of like friendliness in his eyes. He's trying to read you. He's wondering, is this the real deal? Do I need to worry about this person? Don't know.
I mean, I will.
Mm-hmm.
I will shake his hand. I mean, again, like I've dealt with this before. So I mean, if there's something to take away, it's a little assuredness, I guess. Not I wouldn't say full of myself, but just enough. Maybe it sets him off because he's a man in the 30s, but
women with their own opinions. I
perish
lose
the
8.
thought.
Shit, that's a 6. That's how much sand damage you take for seeing a woman who isn't subservient.
Good.
Either in the 1930s or in modern day Arkansas. Anyway, is there anything else you have for Mr. Foster?
I do not.
Or no, you are Mrs. Foster. Sorry for
Yep.
But nothing else for Mr. Frederick?
No, that is everything I have for him.
Okay. So then we've all wrapped this up and it's happening simultaneously. So at the same time that Minnie, you're leaving Frederick's office, Johanna, that's when you're meeting with Virginia and Morris. Marcus, you are driving past the commissary with your new best friend as Callum leaves his conversation with the woman. Callum, will you just do me a favor? You want to roll like sense trouble or something just to see what?
Sure. I want to see. Do I have? Where is sense trouble? I don't have anything in sense trouble, so it's just
1d6.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And we're not detecting danger. We're detecting comedy, so I'm not super worried about.
We're gonna do it. And let's see. All right, what do we? I get a 6.
Okay, so there's a very beautiful moment where, as Marcus discussed, he cannot even look at that side of the car. So she might turn to be like, "So where are you from?" But it's so close, and he's just like, "Well, no, it's fine." And then as he's looking out the window, you are turning to put a cigarette down. It's that meme of the two people passing in the cars, as you see Callum.
I see. Well, the first thing I see is boob. I see a flash of boob, and then I see the car, and I recognize whose car it is. And then you just see my jaw drop as I see Marcus driving by.
Marcus, what face do you make? What's your I just got made face?
The first thing is that it was a sparkly boob to start off with. And it's just a face of confusion, horror, and how the fuck am I going to explain this? Because Marcus knows full well that Callum will not keep this to himself, and he's already picturing the conversation that he's going to have with Johanna and with Minnie in the investigating office later on, and he's not looking forward to it.
Somehow on the wind, Callum just heard the phrase, "The spark is in the tits," and he takes his cigarette and flicks it directly into the slightly open driver's side window, somehow smacking Marcus in the side of the head with the butt of a cigarette.
It's a good thing this is the 1930s or 1920s, or else Johanna will be getting a text message literally right now from Callum. Instead, we will have to wait. Now, Johanna, I will leave it up to you whether you want to kind of press Morris and the friend for information, or whether you want to, not at gunpoint literally, but whether you want to kind of encourage them to meet with the whole team.
Yeah, I'm going to very politely but firmly offer them the opportunity to sit and discuss further in the presence of my partners at the firm, because it's a very big bit of revealing information that I think is going to lead us to our next point of interest and kind of maybe open some doors for everybody. So
while you might be searching for them, I am heading directly over to the film repository, into the vault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's we can kind of like fast forward a little bit to Johanna meeting with Minnie and Marcus. Callum isn't there, but I guess, would you be suspicious is a question to ask?
Absolutely not. It's Callum.
Accept that 100%. So then, yeah, you can meet. Morris will want to talk in his office as opposed to in the open, but we'll be happy to answer your questions there.
I will do one thing. I will leave a folded note in the driver's or the passenger seat of the car, because obviously Callum saw that like Johanna's side was very neat. So a paper out of place would be something that would interest him. So if he goes back to the car while we're meeting with Morris, it'll simply say Morris's office, because then he could find his way. He knows where that is. He's familiar with the area, and then he would make his way to us when he was finished.
Mm-hmm.
There's a slight look of apprehension on my face when I meet up with Johanna and Minnie, and then when I realise that they haven't spoken to Callum yet, and I notice that Callum isn't around, there's a sigh of relief as we then go speak to Morris.
Just extending the time that you have before things get awkward. I like that. Then I'll put it to the floor. Virginia, real name Sally, Morris. They'll explain to Minnie and Marcus the same thing they've already explained to Johanna, their motivation for these things, why they went through this. And at this point, Morris will actually confess. He's the one who called the police. He went to He went to Ward first, who didn't do anything. And then when that didn't happen, he went to the police. And then when the police didn't do anything, that is when he made the decision to call in the investigators. He was only leaving based on the time frame, like a day between those things, right? Tells Ward the night of, nothing. Tells the police the next day, nothing. Tells you the next day. So there's a real sense of urgency in how he's approached this. But aside from that, if you have specific questions, I'll answer them.
I mean, my question would be to you is there anything else that you have failed to mention to us that we could use in our investigation? I understand the cloak and dagger of it, as it were, but now that all the cards are on the table, full honesty is going to help us get Laura back quicker and safe, and hopefully safely.
So he's not hiding anything from you. And you have assessed honesty, so you can tell he's being extremely forthright. The reason that he was initially, that the whole point of the ruse was that they don't know who Ward's friends are. They don't know who the cops are with. They needed to be as far away from it as possible, because if Ward found out they were causing more trouble, it's not like Ward's gonna kill him or anything like that. It's just like he works here and they didn't want to cause any more. They just wanted to make sure that this was being taken seriously. And it's not even like a they, because Sally got roped into it by her uncle, has never actually really hung out with Laura ever. But she's a bit player, right? She can act. So, you know, and they'll even say like, yeah, we got the costume out of the costume department. So
you're definitely very good at it, Miss Sally. You should pursue that, I should say. But yes, anyway, it's just, what about, I mean, I don't know about you, Johanna and Minnie, but from what we've been told, this Ward Frederick person is definitely suspicious. But so is this Alexander person, this director. He seems to have disappeared at a convenient time, I believe is the correct term.
I'm feeling that as well. And then after my conversation with Clara, who is the exact opposite of lovely, might I say, we're getting a bit of conflicting information about the psychological state of Laura leading up to her disappearance, because a lot of everybody talks about how she was just very upbeat and like falling right into the starlight. But when I was talking with Clara, analyzing her communication back and forth with me, I picked up on some truth in her mentioning of Laura like deteriorating in her physical like performance and appearance, and her state of like feeling more tired and kind of starting to drag and letting that ball drop. Like she was really feeling the weight of something, whether it be stardom or something hinky dinky. Marcus, I have my thoughts here about this, but I feel like there's something missing here, because there's just that one bit of interesting disconnect that really intrigues me, along with Alexander Zaharev being in New York at the same time that this young lady is missing.
Well, this is a way to get everyone back in the same room. Callum, if you're okay with it, we can say that it's taking you a little longer than to either search the archive for the thing, because you're trying not.
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm watching movies.
Mm-hmm. So if you've talked to Morris about Laura's appearance, then he will. He's. I mean, I haven't. He'll say I didn't notice anything about that, but I mean, like I can show you the movie. It's not true. And he's like, maybe you can see something I don't. Maybe you can watch for yourself for a sign or something. I mean, that's the best thing I can think of. And if you want to follow that, then we can kind of get everyone in the screening vault to kind of put folks back together and then head from there.
I have a feeling that if we follow that is where we're going to probably find Callum, knowing him being making the film himself. I feel like that's probably where he's gone. I'd also like to point out as well that Miles Desmond is a dickhead, and on top of that, everybody that we've spoken to, bar what you said, Johanna, about Clara, everybody has said the exact same thing about Laura, that she's sweet and lovely and all of that. Now that we know that somebody has a different opinion of her, it sort of feels like everybody else's opinions are somewhat scripted.
Manufactured.
Yes.
Rumors being forced in circulation, like, oh yeah, you send out little people that say, oh yeah, did you hear, like, Laura Angel, she's just the sweetest darling, and then like word of mouth, because it's LA, and why wouldn't everybody like say the same thing to feel popular and cool and fit right in, because that's what you do in the Valley, right?
I don't know any place where people are just like constantly nice to everyone despite their true feelings, especially not Twitter. Why did that thought enter my head?
Never
anyway,
been in a room full of. Well, you're not a teenage girl ever at any point in your life, as far as I'm aware. You've not been at a teenage girl sleepover with 14 girls, and 13 of the 14 hate you, and one of them is like your cousin that you invited because your mom made you. Like, that's when you're in a situation where everybody gets along when they really don't want to, but it's what you do when you have a point to make, or information to gather, or plots to plot.
Not for nothing, we should meet offline and talk about this new idea that I just had for a Call of Cthulhu murder scenario. Yeah. To Marcus, your point, Morris is more than happy to confirm that Miles Desmond is a drunk and a lech and a loser who uses his mediocre talent to he is definitionally the average white man who has just fallen into success and now uses that power for ill purpose. I think if I were going to cast this movie now, I'd put Jared Leto in that role, but not as an actor, just as himself. And now we have the same kind of vibe, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I knocked the shit out of me. She cannot handle that reference.
Above the table, Aaron, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
For sake of time, right? Is using psychoanalysis to watch the movie gonna pull a clue point. Like I will do that if that's what we need to do to pull a point from that film to push us to the direction of Alexander Zaharev's house, which is where my above the table brain says we need to be moving to.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you don't need to push that hard for it, because that was the first thing that Callum came up with, was like, I need to see this guy's house. Yeah, there'll be opportunities for clues. Let's talk about the movie, and then I think you'll have more information to want to make that choice or not make that choice.
Fair.
So while that conversation is happening with Morris, that's the whole kind of things being cleared up again. Callum, there are 6 films from Mr. Zaharev's filmography in the vault, ranging from 2 in 1925, no, 3 in 1925, 4 in 1925.
Oh,
that's
wow.
gotta be a typo. He's pretty
That's a
prolific.
lot.
There are 6 in the last few years. The oldest of them is called Unfaithful. It's about an hour long. The other films are also about an hour long. And it's not until you get into Unbroken when things start to get longer. So if you sit down for an hour, you will bump into each other.
Is there one that is shorter than the rest? The one that they mentioned, the art film?
No. The Black Mass 1925 is also an hour long.
Okay, that's the one as I go in and I sort of, say hey to the people that I know in the vault, there's I'm going to try to find that one. That's the one that I want to see, because I want to get to know like where he started from, so that then I can start seeing where he ended up and what the differences are.
So The Black Mass is not his first film. That one is Unfaithful. It came out the same year, but earlier. So if you want to watch them in order, totally fine. If you want to skip straight to that one, also understand.
I want to jump to The Black Mass, because that's the one that Amelia mentioned.
Okay. So when you sit down to watch that one, the time frames are not going to line up. So then they're going to go watch Unbroken now, is what I'm asking about. So like if while they are talking, you start Black Mass, you're going to be there for 45 minutes while they are 45 minutes into Unbroken. That's fine with everyone. That's cool. But if we want to connive a way to where all of you can watch both movies, that's...
Yeah, we can absolutely watch. Well, I can go watch Unbroken. I just want to make sure that I get to see that earlier film as well at some point.
Yeah. Well, then we'll futz with the time a little bit, and say that Morris, has a car, doesn't have to walk across the studio, knows where things are, and also doesn't have to be like unassuming. I'm guessing that Callum wouldn't just be in, hey everybody, I'm Callum, just digging around, haha, and on investigation. So they're a little more discreet than that. And those factors together will be that Callum, you're in the vault thumbing through things when Morris and the other 3 investigators show up. Callum exchanging the information about Black Mass. Morris is not familiar with it, but at this point is happy to set them up. And we can say that you watch these movies over the next 3 hours. Does that sound fair? So Black Mass, 1925, again, an hour-long film written and directed by Alexander Zaharev, starring Donald Thorison and Samantha Cyle. Those are not names you need to write down or remember. It is a loose adaptation of J.K. Heisman's novel Le Bas, in which a repressed Paris academic falls in love with the mysterious society woman who slowly draws him into the satanic underworld of Paris. Shadowy meetings with strange, decadent fringe dwellers begin to spark the academic's curiosity, but before he knows it, he's become a participant in a bloody ritual for the devil. Now, driven by obsessive love and liberated by this strange underworld, he finally feels at home. Until a visit by his sister, a kindly nun who rekindles his conscience. And the film ends with him leading the Paris police on a daring midnight raid against the Satanists, in which at the film's climax, he bests the devil himself in a strange game of riddles. Does not appear, it's not supernaturally weird. It's a kind of odd movie. It's obvious occult themes filled with occult imagery, upside down crosses, weird geometric shapes, things like that. But it's again like a provocative art film kind of way, not like a found footage of an actual ritual kind of way. Like obviously there's something on Zaharov's mind when he's making this, but it comes across as like more pretentious, more edgy for its own sake than sinister.
Okay. I will. Can I spend like a point of chemistry while we're watching the two movies to just sort of see if there's anything weird about the film itself, or things that like see weird anomalies or anything like that?
Nothing in this one, but let's talk about Unbroken for a bit, and then we'll come back to that question. Skipping over the middle stuff, if you do watch the movies or read about the filmography, they get progressively more commercial. They're always a little off kilter, but he definitely does not continue the angsty art student vibe for much longer. And then you arrive in Unbroken, 1926 film. This one's 2 hours long, and there's no popcorn down in the vault, so you might want to use the bathroom and come back and then be ready to go. Again, written and directed by Alexander Zaharov, starring Laura Angel and Larry Anderson, her co-star. The synopsis roughly is that a beautiful and courageous young woman, Laura, leaves college and takes charge of the family farm when her parents are killed by a tornado. With the help of her two kid brothers, she saves the farm from foreclosure by a greedy banker, and finds love in the arms of a brownie cowpoke. Tragically, she dies of scarlet fever, but not before the cowherd and her brothers vow never to give up the farm she worked so hard to save. Now, there are two things that I want to get out of the way real quick. First of all, can everybody roll a stability check for me?
Ooh. Is this just a D6?
Yeah. So the way a stability test works, it's like any other skill. You're fine. You have a pool of stability that you can spend just like you have a pool of fighting, a pool of scuffling, a pool of athletics. If you fail the test, it's like losing sanity in Cthulhu. You will lose stability. But if you see something really horrible, it might make sense to spend a little bit of stability so that you don't fail the test, because if you fail, you'll lose more. If it's a smaller thing, it's usually better to just risk it for the biscuit and see what happens.
Sure. All right, let's do our first stability check.
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
Ooh, I got a 3.
A 3 will pass.
Okay.
Do we need to spend anything, or that's the option to spend?
Yeah, you have the option to. You don't have to.
All right, I will do that. I'll spend because I want to hyper focus on this. Like it's something that I'm extremely interested in, her condition, because I'm a clinical psychologist. The mention of somebody's deterioration is what piqued me here. So I'm going to spend 2 on that. So that puts me at 8 with my 6 on a roll anyway.
Okay. You will all feel it just tugging at you. It is evocative. The stability test passing means you don't just break down uncontrollably weeping, like just blubbering child. But even with the passing test, you watch that performance and like you're misty. You might get a whole single teardrop. It is overwhelming, more than any art you've ever seen in your entire existence life. And while you're digesting that, because the film's going to end and everyone's just kind of like just basking in it, and there's a little moment, and then Morris will chime in to express surprise, because that's not how he remembers the film ending. That when they screened it at that party, I want to make sure I get this detail exactly correct. In the original version, she died surrounded by her brothers and her lover around the bed. She was in the bed and they were all there. Now there's this new ending, and it's just Laura dying in bed by herself. There's nobody else there. But this is the master, so that change would have had to have been made really recently.
That's I'm gonna look at this and just I don't know if I've got anything that I could use for that, but that's very interesting.
Can I take a look at the film with my knowledge in photography and see what my eagle eyes can see?
They don't have to be that eagerly, actually. It's a free photography clue that the original the master has been edited. The master negative has been like literally cut and spliced. There's some more there if you'd like to spend a point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's curious enough to warrant a spend.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose Callum, you would also get here. The film that the second half is not the second half, but the new scene is recorded in, does not match the film the studio uses. Does not match it can't be homemade.
I didn't make this.
No, but like it can't be like homemade because there's no such thing as like homemade film. But it's not stock standard. It's nothing from your lab.
Is there like any sort of like identifying information on the film, like a serial number or anything? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's, I mean, you have to have a lab to make, obviously, like film, but it's not impossible that someone could do it, or it is not impossible that this came from somewhere else. Like Callum makes it. There are other companies that make it. This doesn't look like anything you recognize in terms of like the work of people in Hollywood.
So maybe like some black market Russian film.
I'd love to spend another point in chemistry to see what the differences are between my film and this film.
Okay, roll stability for me.
Oh, more stability. Well,
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. On this one, I think I'm gonna spend like a point
Sure.
in stability. Because 2 in a row. Oh, damn, that's still only a 2. Okay, I rolled a 1.
So you spent 1 on the roll, and that goes away. And having failed the roll, you'll also just take 1, because the colors don't make sense. Like, imagine it's 1928 and someone shows you like 400 millimeter super IMAX Marvel Cinema Master version, and you're just like, this is impossible. Like it's vivid. If you stare at it too long, you know, like when you're staring off into the sky, there's that like the autonomic like motion reflex, and like it's weird, like it's moving under you. It's a little creepy, and like you try to put that into science brain, and science brain says like it should not exist, but then your like eyes are like, no, it definitely does. And
is there anything about, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look over at our studio guy and just be like, listen, where the hell did you get this film? This is crazy.
Morris has no, I mean, that's not my thing. He can go to the on the actual reel. There's a list of like when folks signed it out, and the best he can do is say it says that Alexander, he signed this out on the 24th.
Wait, so after the screening?
That's what it says. I had no idea. I haven't even this.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This is crazy stuff. He's getting a little worked up because part of it is this is his livelihood. And this is what allows him to keep his underground business going, is all the money that he makes from film being sent to this place. So he's like, and he doesn't recognize the technology that's being used to create this stuff. So he knows he's probably getting outpaced by somebody else out there. So I need to know I need to know who the hell is buying this messed up film, because it is messed up.
I'll just go and I'll just put my hand on Callum's shoulder and I'll just say, well, we wanted an excuse to go to Alexander's place anyway, and if he was the last one to sign it out, I mean, what are the chances that he did something with the film at his house?
I know. It is real hard to make film like this like in a home lab. I mean,
yeah, but he may have gotten it from somebody else, is my point, and then he may have spliced it together at his home.
I'm gonna just start sort of patting around on my body, making sure that my several guns are still there, and I'm like, yeah, we can go have a chat.
Just before you do that, I'm not sure how these contraptions work, but are you able to bring it back to the point where she's dying alone for me a moment?
Where exactly is the thing cut?
That the new ending. So whatever, there's not like a scene by scene breakdown of the film, but there's the whole like, oh no, we must go upside to be with Mother in her last moments, and then like cut. Then and it's not sloppy. It's professional. It makes sense in the narrative of the film. The scene of her dying in bed is the change.
That's the scene that I want it sort of like, if there's a way, I don't know if they could do that back then, but I want that sort of paused on the screen.
Yeah, that's fine. Make a stability check.
Okay. I'm going to spend 2 points of stability for this, which is probably good because I rolled a 2, so that'd be 4.
That gets you up. The more you watch it, like, and not the more, but like every time you watch it, you have to make a conscious, willful effort to hold yourself together emotionally. Like it's hypnotic, it's eerie. Johanna, it would freak you out. Like the amount of energy you have to put into not being moved by this is strange.
What I want to do is I want to look at 2 things. The first is the surrounding area, because we've already established that the scene where she dies is completely different to anything else that we've seen in the film. So I want to try and I want to use a point of forensics to try and pick out any key features of anything that's in the room that might relay where that might be. The second thing that I want to do, or that I would suggest for somebody else to do, would be to spend a point in medicine to see if this is acting or if this is real.
That was on my to-do. I already wanted to spend medicine because I was already working psychoanalysis, but now that I'm thinking of it, if she's already dead, I want to know if I can tell that.
Yeah, because the thought going through Marcus's mind at the moment, and I would have had that sort of connection with Johanna in a nod. As soon as Morris said this is a different scene of her dying, Marcus's thing is this her actually dying on film?
Well, I can tell you the forensics piece isn't going to be super helpful. It's the set decoration back then. This could have been anywhere. It could be an actual bedroom. They could have built one up. It matches the original ending so far as Morris understands, and he didn't know where it was shot. So same place, different place. There's no way to tell. As for the other piece, go ahead and spend a point in medicine because
you want me to roll for it?
No, when you use medicine, you're spending an I would like information point. Is that if that is acting, that is a singular gift that no one in the universe has. It's in the way that as she's laying in bed and I'm wasting away, but like there's that, you can't act that like tremor of slowly approaching death. You can't act like the quiet, not fear, but the oncoming dread of knowing. You picture like in all the movies, there's the buddy cop and then the cop. I was 2 days away from retirement, and you see in his eyes that he knows he's dying, and he looks up to the partner and he's like, but I'm glad I got to take him down with you. And like there's that scene And you can always tell when they're acting it, and then, oh, it's so cheesy when they pull the eyes down. It's not like that at all. It's like watching someone on the table who's like bleeding and knows the ambulance won't get there in time. It's vividly, yeah.
It's a familiar thing for Marcus. This is something that he's seen before, so he would recognize this instantly as something that can't be acted. And I'll turn away from the screen and look to the others, and then I'm just going to walk out, because if I'm not going to repeat anything, Johanna will see that I am visibly upset. I will just walk out. I don't want to relay the information that I've gained from this to the people who have hired us yet. Not until we've got proper answers.
As you're walking out, I am gonna just sort of cover like my anger. I'm just gonna look at you and be like, say hello to your bosomy friend.
My hand slips underneath my jacket. I go to pull out something. I think better of myself, and I walk out. But he's got but after that comment, he has a face of thunder as he walks, and it's more of a. He doesn't. It was originally going to be a solemn walkout, but now he slams the door open and just walks.
Well, I think the next move everyone's going to want to make is to go to Mr. Zahara's house, right?
Yeah, I think it's time. I do want to know what's going on with this guy, with this director, with this studio guy, how he feels about the fact that the movie was changed.
Morris is as shocked as you are. The last time he saw this movie, it looked one way. He has not seen or heard from it since. The only thing that's changed for him is that he invited you. This is all honest to God, like what the fuck to him.
Aaron, I would like to pose to you, which is probably against my and Marcus's favor, but with both of us having some PTSD from combat, things like that, which is why that affected the way that it did, I almost want to say that strikes at our sanity some in this case, because that is like a PTSD moment for the two of us both. In the case of like seeing that sort of desperation, because it's something we had both seen many times before.
Understand that completely. Sanity does not mean that in Trail of Cthulhu. One of the things that they do is to separate sanity, which is knowledge of the true universe. If you learn Cthulhu is real and that gravity does not work the way you think it does, that's sanity. Everything else follows under stability, which is like your kind of day-to-day keep your shit together score. Okay. They made that choice because in Call of Cthulhu, you can see like a dead body and it's 1d4 sanity. And then you can see a no shit deep one and it's 1d6. And the game's like, yeah, these things are about the same. But Trail of Cthulhu says, okay, well, no, we need a way to distinguish between like I'm unsettled and like my brain has to recalculate the laws of the universe.
As soon as I walk out and I've stormed out, if I can, I will instantly choose to fail that stability check. If I'm able to, without rolling.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. It's the thing that drives you crazy is not that it's like a worm, right? And it's not the image of her dying that sticks with you. It's the resonance. It's you watching it. It wasn't even the fact, like, yeah, it's not like it's a sad movie scene, but like anyone can watch Homeward Bound and not cry. Well, I mean, I can't, but that's a me thing. In this case, it's summoning these parts of you and the emotional urge. You are feeling deeply empathetic pain for that. And yeah, I mean, imagine the beginning, you might be able to say, okay, well, this is why, but then it just sits there and it stirs and it lingers. And I think at least now you have a much clearer understanding of why people are so impressed with this film.
That's the thing, though, that's another thing that's going to go through my mind as well, is that people say that they're impressed with this film. However, they haven't seen this edited version of it. They've seen the unedited version of it.
So the whole film has that sense of the performance coming out of it it was so, but the ending is like, whoa. So it's not totally normal, and then ending is this. the whole thing has this like low level undercurrent, and then the ending just as we go.
It's just
But-
unmeasurably uncomfortable to think that they actually recorded this girl dying for real and cut that to put it in a film, and instead of leaving the original one, like it's unsettling so to see that they're using her actual death in the new version of the film when this girl, quote unquote, is missing. Like, I can't justify that. Like, it just doesn't sit comfortably with me to know that that's what's on the film. It's like it's a German snuff film. Like, it just is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
Johanna, personally, I'm just living for it, but
there are some assumptions written into that statement that we might get to the bottom of as we continue, because there's only one person who signed out the film. There's only one person who knows what's going on. They're out of town, but maybe their house is unlocked. Unfortunately, that specific mystery is going to have to wait until next week. I am Aaron. As always, I have been your storyteller. This has been episode 2 of The Dream Factory, a horror scenario for Call of Cthulhu by John Scott Tynes. I have been joined by the incredibly popular with the ladies, despite his personality, Marcus, as played by Josh.
Hi. Yes, incredibly popular. Sparkles.
And adjacent, Josh, we have the soon to make a revolutionary espionage breakthrough in filmmaking technology, Callum, as played by Cyle.
That's right. I'm going to find out what makes this film tick, and I'm going to become a millionaire.
Also keeping her head on her shoulders, but starting to wonder what's really going on in the world as the alienist Johanna. It has been Hooli.
You know what? May the odds be ever in our favor, friends.
Fingers crossed, and standing toe to toe with the sexist men of the 1920s, coming back with evidence, taking no prisoners, asking no questions. Minnie Foster has been the...
I'm pretty sure I asked questions, actually. I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing here, is asking questions, actually. But yes, that's me.
Aaron is currently thinking about what he just said and trying to piece together. What?
No, I just gonna commit to it, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is one of those things, like the American flavor of toxic masculinity says if you just power through not admitting a mistake, it never happened. That's what I've learned in the Midwest, anyway. This has been a joy. We will cover more of these questions and answers next week, same time, same channel, when we reach the end, find the villains, steal the film, and maybe, just maybe, rescue Laura Angel. Until then, though, it's been great to see you. I hope you come back soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.